You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show. You're listening to the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm your host, Matt Reynolds. Happy Friday, everybody. This is another episode of the Coaching Success Series. I want to talk a little bit today about something that I've had some questions about lately, and it's really how we divide up our metrics. There are really two types of metrics, and maybe even three, that we keep at Barbell Logic, and the metrics that matter when we talk about metrics that matter. And the first one, again, all of this really kind of stems from the core values or the tenets of the company. So the tenets are the same for us: to serve our clients and coaches well, to grow our company, to teach our community, and to steward our resources. Those are the four big ones for us. And then each year as we meet, or every 6 months or so as a mission control team, as we meet in person, we talk through the major priorities for the year. So what are the big priorities for the year? For us right now, that's content, marketing, and sales. Number one, I won't go into the details and the numbers. Number two is to execute the Turnkey Coach product roadmap, basically to provide the best service possible, sustainable growth, enhance customer satisfaction. Number three is to create and update our people-related structures to hire and keep A players, seamlessly onboard those. We've got a great team. And number four is to execute the military contract pipeline. Certainly yours will be different, but just want to let you know, like, those are the big picture items for us for this year. That doesn't mean that other things don't matter. It means those are the four most important things. And then as we start to look at metrics, we break those metrics up into what we call TTIs, or targets to improve. Now, you've probably heard me talk about this before. I hate corporate speech. I hate these little, three-letter things that stand for something, but we have adopted these some. These are all metrics that matter. The top set of metrics are called targets to improve. They're the target to shoot for. And those targets for us have to directly impact those four major priorities for the company. So as we build the content, marketing, and sales infrastructure, we have certain revenue goals that we're trying to achieve. So we have things like in the TTIs, last 12 months of revenue, and we want to watch that grow, or ARR, or block top line revenue, or TKC top line revenue, or academy, or military, or whatever. As we think about service, we think about net promoter score. If you don't know what that is, look it up. I talk about it in the previous Metrics That Matter episode that was from a few months ago. We want to make sure that both our clients and our coach NPS, both coaches for block and coaches for TKC, continue to get better and better. We want to watch that number. That's really kind of a happiness or satisfaction scale. It's that question you've seen. You've probably received this email lots of times. On a scale of 1 to 10, how likely are you to recommend this service to a friend or family member or business acquaintance or whatever? Churn is a huge piece for us. Our churn has been under 2% for 5 straight months. For Block, specifically for the B2C company, we want to keep our finger on that. That is a consistent driver of revenue, because if the churn goes up, we have to get more clients to replace the churn. If the churn is down, then those additional clients are just basically, it's icing on the cake. And so those things are important. We have things like what's called a CES score, which is basically, it's a score of new employees where they score like how easy it was to onboard into the company. Again, that's probably beyond a lot of what you guys do. And then really military revenue of contracts awarded. So when you get a military contract, it doesn't pay out right away. You get the contract awarded, and then there's a kind of you get the 2-week sprint to actually get the contract signed. And then over the course of 12 months or 18 months or whatever the period of the contract is, you get paid at different rates. So it's not like the same amount each month. And so we have to kind of project that out. So those things are the major metrics, or the targets to improve, or TTIs, that will drive progress to help us reach our 2024 priorities. And so for us, there's only about 9 there. There's not a ton. There shouldn't be 25. And as your company is more simple, or you have less product, if you only sell personal training or just online coaching, you might only have 2 or 3 primary TTIs. And from there, we have a dashboard that the team has really built, primarily for me, but for the team as a whole, that in one spot, I can take what we call KPIs, which are key performance indicators. Again, I apologize. It's a very corporate-y word, but it's the thing that's used primarily in that world. if a TTI is the target, the KPI is the real-time pulse of the company. What is the health of the company right now, today, or this week, or this month, right? In as short of a time window as possible. And so we look at things like online coaching count, how many clients we have on online coaching, how many clients or coaches we have on Turnkey Coach, how many students we have for the academy, how many current military clients or contracts we're currently serving, those sorts of things. For Turnkey Coach, we look at things like uptime. Is there any downtime for the software? What are the major product roadmap pieces that we're trying to bring in? We're trying to do our own video player. We've got the native app that we're working on hard to come out by the end of the year, Stripe integration, things like that. We look at academy, student count, total audience reached, new courses or modules being created, since when you join the academy, you get lifetime access to those sort of things. And then military is really kind of a funnel between proposals that we know about, the proposals or the potential proposals we know about, the proposals that we actually submit, the proposals that we are awarded, and then the revenue realized. So these are KPIs, or key performance indicators, that tell us like what's going on in the company right now. And for content marketing and sales, we might look at reach for Instagram, or views for YouTube, or email subscribers. And then we would take that kind of top of the funnel. How many people are consuming the content? What percentage of those people are driving down to leads for the business? And then what percentage of those people are converting? So they're either conversion, maybe giving us an email or interacting with us as a company. So there's some version of a conversion there, which doesn't mean that they actually have to spend money. Certainly if they actually sign up for online coaching or Turnkey Coach or the academy or whatever, that's obviously a conversion. That sometimes those conversions are, okay, we kind of know who's looking at the content. We know who's visiting the website, but until they actually put an email address in, give us their contact information, and they go from basically what I would call a cold lead to a warm lead or a hot lead, then they can't count as a conversion. They're in that sales pipeline at some point. So we look at those things. Certainly we look at company-wide financial metrics, which are a lot of the things I talked about in that original metrics episode. So, total revenue, lifetime value, last 12 months of revenue, cost of goods, gross margin, payroll expenses, operating expenses, net margin, how much cash is in the bank. Those are snapshots. The KPIs, the key performance indicators, are snapshots of the health of the company today, or this week, or at worst, the longest, this month, let's say. And the targets to improve are the targets we're aiming for. We know we're not going to hit those this week or this month or even this quarter, but if the KPIs continue to improve, we believe that the KPIs are attached to the TTIs and that they'll drive TTI performance. And when TTI performance comes up, then we meet the actual annual priorities. And so one of the things I would just want to be clear about is that there is a difference. There's a hierarchy of metrics from the targets you're trying to get to, the key performance indicators, or the snapshot of where you are today, what the distance is between today and the target. And then that allows us to build out those game plans to put in place to close the gap. It's simple as that, right? Beyond that, for us, because we have functional teams, we have teams like an operations team or an engineering team or a CX team or a content marketing and sales team or a finance or stewardship team. All of those teams have even more in the trenches KPIs that they're keeping that may not be uber important to me as a CEO or as a team as a whole, but for the functional team, it's extremely important. So think about something like content and marketing and all of the social media platforms. We have metrics that we keep on all of those things, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, Twitter, like all the stuff, podcast downloads, on website visits. And we have to delineate and distill down what are the most important things for the company that I can look at in kind of a single dashboard. And then Josh Veach, who is our CMO, he's looking at all those things on a weekly basis. And we have projections for those. And we have what the actual number is. The actual number meets or exceeds the projection, it turns the cell green on an Excel spreadsheet or on a Google spreadsheet. And if it's below the projection, it's red. And so we can scan very quickly and go green, 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 green. Oh, here's a red one. What's going on? We're just a little bit behind. Are we a lot behind? Do we need to turn a dial there? And so this is the way we use metrics. And this is, I've talked a lot about kind of top down. So from core values to tenets to major priorities to, those major goals to actions to the metrics. This is really a discussion about bottom up. that is looking at the metrics first and making sure that they lead to the thing that we want ultimately, which is completing the actions, reaching the goals, and meeting those targets to improve and completing essentially the annual goals or the annual priorities for the company. And so one thing you can think about as a business owner, certainly ours will be more complicated than yours. You can start pretty simple. You want to start simple. It's similar to programming or training. It's simple, hard, effective, right? You don't want to collect every metric in the world that you could possibly collect. You want to collect the metrics that matter. And so what are the major metrics you're trying to reach by the end of the year or in the next 12 months or even maybe the next 1 to 2 years, something like that? What are the major KPIs or key performance indicators or snapshots of the health of the company today that if those continue to improve, you know you're going to meet the targets to improve or the targets, the goals, and that will help you complete the major annual priorities. And so there is a hierarchy of metrics. This will be discussed in detail in the book in Undoing Urgency, which you can find at undoingurgency.com or ryanmattreynolds.com. Goes to the same website. You can get updates on that. The book should be up for pre-sale by September 1st, the latest. Releases December 10th. Super excited about it. We'll give you some more little excerpts from the book over the next several weeks as we build up the product launch for the book. But I wanted to make sure that you understood that not all metrics are created the same. Some metrics are a snapshot of the health of the business today. Some of those metrics are the targets that we're trying to reach, and those should still be connected. So the snapshot of the metrics today, as they improve, they should have direct impact on the targets to improve for the overarching goal of the company. So if you say, like, if you're working another job, you're an accountant or an engineer or something, and you're also on the side, you're coaching, and you say, I want to make $50,000 a year this year coaching, then your top line revenue for online coaching would certainly be a target to improve. Now, what are the KPIs, the snapshots, which would also include top line revenue for the week or for the month or for the quarter, that would indicate that you're moving in the right direction, right? What is the churn? What is the customer acquisition cost? What's the lifetime value of the customer? Like all of those things that I talked about in the previous metrics episode, those actually lead into the targets to improve. And so not all metrics are created the same. Not all metrics are important. The first thing to identify are what are the most important metrics for you. And then 2, divide those up between what are the metrics that are the target we're trying to achieve and what are the metrics that give us the best snapshot of the health of the business today. And once you have those, that's a pretty clean, simple way of taking a single snapshot. Again, I shouldn't have to scroll on my 13-inch MacBook. I've got the smaller MacBook. On a single screen, I should be able to see all the major KPIs that matter for the company that I know that are driving the TTIs for the annual priorities. That is the point. And so understand the metrics. Go back and listen to that metrics episode. We talk a lot about the metrics that matter, especially financial metrics that matter. But as you think about the product that you produce, and again, if you're not a coach and you're somebody else in a different industry, you'll have other types of KPIs and TTIs that will matter for the company. And again, I apologize for the corporate speech. That is the nomenclature that the business world has decided to adopt. And so TTIs are the targets, KPIs are the snapshot of the health of the company today. And that's it. Be a person of action and take some time and write those down and try to put those. So again, as I've done and talked through strategy on this, I would make a note on your phone of all the metrics you think that matter for the company in no particular order, and then start to divide those up. Once you get those after a few days, you start to look at, okay, these are the major targets that we want to achieve. And these are the snapshot metrics that will tell us if we're moving in the right direction. Simple as that. Short episode today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you got value from this, we'd love a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. And hope you guys have a great weekend and a great week. And we'll talk to you next Friday.